Ladies and gentlemen, life has a way of pulling our attention in 1,000 directions. We scroll through social media, watching others live their best lives, and we wonder, what about me? Why am I not there yet? But let me tell you something. Your journey is yours alone. And the only person you should be measuring yourself against is the person you were yesterday. The biggest mistake you can make is to compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. What you don't see are the struggles behind their success, the tears behind their triumphs, and the prayers behind their progress. So why waste time envying someone else's blessing when God has already designed one specifically for you? Self-discovery is one of the most powerful journeys you will ever take. It is the process of peeling back the layers of who you thought you had to be and stepping into the truth of who you were created to be. Too often we live our lives based on the expectations of others, trying to fit into molds that were never designed for us, wearing masks just to be accepted, and following paths that have nothing to do with our true calling. But there comes a moment when you must pause, reflect, and ask yourself, who am I really? The challenge is that many of us have spent so much time trying to be like someone else that we've lost sight of our own uniqueness. We admire the success of others, we imitate their habits, and we try to mirror their achievements, thinking that if we can just do what they did, we will find the same fulfillment. But fulfillment doesn't come from imitation. It comes from authenticity. It comes from recognizing that you were designed with a purpose that cannot be duplicated. When you embark on the journey of self-discovery, you start to realize that your worth is not tied to your achievements, your relationships, or the opinions of those around you. It is found in understanding yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your passions, and your calling. You begin to see that you are not here by accident. Every trait you possess, every experience you have gone through, and every lesson you have learned has shaped you into the person you are becoming. But self-discovery is not always an easy road. It requires unlearning the false narratives that have been spoken over your life. It demands that you break free from the fear of rejection and the pressure to conform. It means embracing your own voice, your own dreams, and your own destiny, even when others don't understand it. Because the truth is, not everyone will support your journey of self-discovery. Some people benefit from your confusion. Some people are comfortable with the version of you that plays small. And when you decide to grow, to evolve, and to truly know yourself, you will find that not everyone is willing to come along for the ride. Self-discovery also means giving yourself permission to explore. It means trying new things, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and allowing yourself to make mistakes without shame. Growth does not come from standing still. It comes from movement, from experience, from being willing to take risks, even when you don't have all the answers. The more you learn about yourself, the more confident you become in your decisions. You stop second-guessing every move because you trust yourself. You stop seeking constant approval because you know your own value. You stop comparing your timeline to someone else's because you understand that your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. One of the greatest breakthroughs in self-discovery is realizing that you already have everything you need inside of you. The skills, the talents, the resilience. It's all there. The problem is we often look for external validation to confirm what we should already believe about ourselves. We wait for someone to tell us we're talented before we believe in our gifts. We wait for someone to recognize our potential before we step into our greatness. But when you truly know yourself, you no longer need permission to be who you were meant to be. Self-discovery also requires reflection. In the noise of life, it's easy to lose sight of ourselves, drowning in distractions and responsibilities. But there must be intentional moments of stillness, moments where you check in with yourself, asking, am I living in alignment with who I truly am? Am I pursuing what sets my soul on fire, or am I simply going through the motion? The beautiful thing about self-discovery is that it is a lifelong process. You are constantly evolving, learning, and growing. Who you were 5 years ago is not who you are today, and who you are today is not the final version of who you are becoming. Every experience, every challenge, and every season of your life adds another piece to the puzzle of your identity. The more you embrace this journey, the more you realize that you don't need to fit into anyone's expectations. You just need to be fully, unapologetically yourself. Comparison is one of the most dangerous traps we can fall into. It sneaks in quietly, disguising itself as inspiration or motivation, but before we know it, it steals our peace, confidence, and happiness. It makes us question our worth, our progress, and even our purpose. Instead of celebrating our own growth, we start measuring ourselves against others, wondering why we aren't where they are, why we don't have what they have, and why our journey seems so much harder. The reality is comparison shifts our focus from what we have to what we lack. It blinds us to our own blessings because we're too busy counting someone else's. We scroll through social media, looking at carefully curated highlights of other people's lives, and we assume that their success is effortless, their happiness is constant, and their journey is perfect. But what we fail to see is the struggle behind the scene. We don't see the late nights, the sacrifices, the failures, or the doubts they've battled along the way. We compare our reality to their illusion, and in doing so, we rob ourselves of the joy that comes from embracing our own path. Comparison is dangerous because it creates a false sense of inadequacy. It convinces us that we are behind, that we are not doing enough, and that we are somehow failing, when in reality we are exactly where we are supposed to be. It breeds insecurity, making us feel like we must constantly prove ourselves, compete, or rush to achieve things just because someone else has. We start measuring our timeline against theirs, forgetting that life is not a race. Every person has their own unique path, their own seasons of growth, and their own divine timing. Just because someone else is succeeding doesn't mean you're failing. Their blessings do not take away from yours. Another danger of comparison is that it shifts our focus from gratitude to resentment. Instead of being thankful for what we have, we become bitter about what we don't. Instead of acknowledging our own progress, we obsess over someone else's. This mindset keeps us trapped, constantly chasing a version of success that was never meant for us. It makes us feel like no matter what we do, it's never enough. Because as soon as we reach one goal, we immediately look to someone who has achieved more and feel inadequate all over again. The worst part about comparison is that it robs us of the ability to enjoy our own victories. Have you ever worked so hard for something, finally achieved it, and then instead of celebrating, you immediately found someone who was doing better? Instead of feeling proud, you felt small. Instead of recognizing your progress, you downplayed your success because someone else was ahead of you. This is what comparison does. It turns what should be moments of joy into moments of doubt. It makes us feel like we must always catch up, like we must always do more, be more, and have more. Comparison also blinds us to our own uniqueness. When we constantly look at others, we start to believe that our gifts and talents are not enough. We try to fit into someone else's mold, copying their style, their success, and their path, forgetting that we were never meant to be them. We were created with our own purpose, our own strengths, and our own journey. The moment we stop comparing and start embracing who we truly are, we unlock a level of peace and fulfillment that no external achievement can give us. Comparison does not just affect individuals, it affects relationships, careers, and even entire communities. It creates unnecessary competition where there should be collaboration. It makes us see each other as threats instead of allies. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of envy and self-doubt, never fully appreciating our own lives because we're too focused on someone else's. One of the greatest deceptions of comparison is that it convinces us that there is only one definition of success, happiness, or fulfillment. But success looks different for everyone. For one person, success may mean financial wealth. For another, it may mean a happy family, a strong faith, or a fulfilling career. The problem with comparison is that it makes us chase things that were never meant for us, thinking that if we just achieve what someone else has, we will finally feel satisfied. But true satisfaction does not come from copying someone else's life. It comes from living fully in our own. When we focus too much on what others are doing, we lose sight of our own path. We start making decisions based on external pressures rather than internal purpose. We chase things we don't even want simply because society tells us we should. We forget that fulfillment is not found in achieving more, but in being aligned with our true selves. The moment we break free from comparison, we begin to walk in true confidence, knowing that we are enough just as we are. No two journeys in life are the same. Each person walks a path that is designed specifically for them, shaped by their experiences, challenges, and purpose. Yet, too often, we fall into the trap of believing that our lives should look like someone else's. We compare timelines, measure progress against others, and feel pressure to achieve milestones by a certain age, forgetting that our journey is not meant to be identical to anyone else's. Embracing your unique journey means understanding that you were not created to be a copy of someone else. You were designed with a specific purpose, equipped with unique gifts and placed in this world at this time for a reason. But walking your own path requires courage because it often means going against the grain. It means letting go of society's expectations and trusting that your process, no matter how slow, different, or unconventional, has value. One of the greatest struggles people face is the pressure to conform. From a young age, we are taught to follow a set path. Go to school, get a job, get married, buy a house, and retire. But life does not unfold in a straight line for everyone. Some people find their purpose early. Others discover it later in life. Some experience rapid success, while others must fight through years of struggle before they see results. And that is okay. The timing of your journey does not determine its worth. Just because someone else reached their goals before you does not mean you are behind. Just because your path looks different does not mean you are lost. The truth is, if you spend your life trying to walk in someone else's footsteps, you will never truly live. You will always feel like you're chasing something that is just out of reach because you are following a map that was never meant for you. Your journey is yours alone and only you can walk it. You must be willing to embrace the twists, the detours, and even the setbacks, knowing that everything you experience is shaping you into the person you are meant to become. Embracing your unique journey also means letting go of comparison. It is easy to look at others and feel like they have it all figured out while you are still trying to find your way. But what you see on the surface is never the full story. Every person has struggles that are not visible to the outside world. Every success story has a chapter of failure, doubt, and uncertainty. If you only focus on the finished product, you will never appreciate the process. Your journey may not look like anyone else's, but that does not make it any less significant. One of the hardest parts of embracing your journey is dealing with doubt, both your own and the doubt of others. People will question your path. They will wonder why you are taking so long, why you are choosing a different road, or why you are not doing what they expect. But their opinions do not define you. The only validation you need is your own. You must be willing to trust that even when things do not make sense to others, they make sense for you. Another key part of embracing your journey is understanding that setbacks and failures are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are part of the process. Too often, people give up because they face obstacles, assuming that difficulty means they are not meant to succeed. But nothing worth having comes easily. Growth happens in the struggle. Strength is built in adversity. Every challenge you face is shaping you, preparing you, and refining you for what is to come. If you quit too soon, you will never see the results of your perseverance. It is also important to recognize that embracing your journey does not mean you have to do it alone. While your path is unique, you will cross paths with people who can support, encourage, and uplift you. Finding a community that understands and respects your journey is crucial. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, not those who pressure you to be someone you are not. Seek mentors. Build relationships with those who genuinely want to see you grow. And be open to learning from others, but never at the cost of losing yourself. Another essential aspect of embracing your unique journey is learning to celebrate your progress. Too often, people dismiss their own accomplishments because they feel small compared to someone else's. But progress is progress, no matter how small. Every step forward, every lesson learned, and every challenge overcome is proof that you are growing. You do not need a massive breakthrough to validate your journey. Sometimes simply making it through another day is an achievement worth celebrating. Embracing your unique journey also requires patience. We live in a world that glorifies instant success, where people expect overnight results. But real growth takes time. Trees do not bear fruit the day they are planted. Great things are built through consistency, resilience, and faith in the process. The most meaningful journeys are the ones that take time, because they allow you to develop the wisdom, strength, and character needed to sustain success when it comes. Lastly, embracing your journey means trusting that everything is happening for a reason. Even the disappointments, the delays, and the unanswered prayers are all part of a bigger picture. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. What feels like rejection is actually redirection. You may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and realize that every twist and turn led you exactly where you were meant to be. Discipline is the foundation of success, yet it is one of the hardest things to maintain in a world filled with distractions. Every day we are bombarded with noise, notifications, social media, entertainment, opinions, and temptations pulling us in different directions. It has never been easier to lose focus, to drift away from our purpose, and to waste valuable time on things that do not serve us. But those who achieve greatness are not the ones who have the most talent, the best resources, or the easiest path. They are the ones who have mastered discipline, the ability to stay committed to their goals despite the distractions around them. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It is easy to set goals, to write down plans, and to talk about what we want to accomplish. But when the excitement fades, when challenges arise, and when distractions become louder, only discipline will keep us moving forward. It is not about motivation, because motivation comes and goes. Discipline is about showing up every single day, even when we don't feel like it, even when we are tired, even when the results are not immediate. The biggest enemy of discipline is distraction. Distraction does not always look harmful. It often comes disguised as something harmless, even enjoyable. It could be spending hours scrolling through social media, watching endless videos, engaging in gossip, or chasing validation from people who do not add value to our lives. Sometimes distraction comes in the form of unnecessary commitments, saying yes to things that do not align with our goals, allowing other people's priorities to dictate how we spend our time. And before we know it, we have wasted days, months, or even years focusing on things that do not bring us closer to our purpose. One of the greatest tricks of distraction is that it makes us feel busy without being productive. We can spend hours doing things that feel like work, researching, planning, brainstorming, but if we never take action, we are simply wasting time. Discipline, on the other hand, forces us to do the hard work. It pushes us to stay consistent, to prioritize what matters, and to resist the urge to take the easy way out. Developing discipline requires intentionality. It is not something that happens by accident. We must train ourselves to block out distractions, to set boundaries, and to stay committed even when it gets uncomfortable. This means creating habits that support our goals. Waking up early, setting deadlines, eliminating unnecessary distractions, and holding ourselves accountable. It means sacrificing short-term pleasure for long-term success. The truth is, discipline is not always enjoyable. It requires saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It requires missing out on temporary pleasures so that we can build something lasting. It means waking up before the sun, working when others are resting, and pushing through when others quit. But the reward is worth it. Discipline leads to mastery. It leads to growth. It leads to a life where we are in control, not just drifting wherever distractions take us. One of the hardest parts of discipline is dealing with the temptation to quit. There will always be moments when we feel tired, when we wonder if the effort is worth it, when we question if we are on the right path. But this is where true discipline is tested. It is not about how well we perform when things are easy. It is about how we push through when things get difficult. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who never failed. They are the ones who refuse to quit. Discipline is also about self-control. It is about mastering our emotions, our impulses, and our habits. It is easy to make excuses, to blame circumstances, to say we will start tomorrow. But discipline teaches us to take responsibility for our actions. It teaches us that success is not about luck, but about daily choices. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is not intelligence or opportunity, it is discipline. The ones who succeed are those who refuse to be distracted, who commit to their goals, and who stay focused no matter what comes their way. They do not allow temporary distractions to derail them from their destiny. They understand that every minute spent on meaningless distractions is a minute stolen from their future success. Discipline is not a one-time decision, it is a lifestyle. It must be practiced every single day in the small moments as well as the big ones. It is about choosing to work instead of procrastinate, to focus instead of scroll, to stay committed instead of giving up. Every decision we make is either bringing us closer to our goals or pulling us further away. The question we must ask ourselves is, are we living with discipline or are we allowing distractions to control our lives? From the time we are young, we are conditioned to seek approval from others. We are praised for good grades, for good behavior, for fitting into the mold that society has set for us. As we grow older, this need for validation does not disappear. It only changes forms. It becomes about how many likes we get on social media, how many people acknowledge our accomplishments, and how much admiration we receive from the world. Slowly, without even realizing it, we begin to measure our worth based on how others see us. We begin to live for applause, for recognition, and for acceptance instead of living for our own truth. External validation is dangerous because it creates a false sense of identity. When we rely on others to tell us who we are, we give them the power to define our worth. We become trapped in a cycle of performance, constantly trying to meet expectations, constantly trying to prove ourselves, constantly afraid that if we fall short, we will no longer be valued. We start shaping our lives around what will make people like us, and in the process, we lose sight of who we really are. The problem with seeking external validation is that it is never enough. No matter how much praise we receive, it is always temporary. The moment we stop performing, the applause fades. The moment we make a mistake, the admiration disappears. The moment we no longer fit into the image that others have created for us, we risk losing their approval. And if our self-worth is built on the opinions of others, then our confidence will always be fragile, easily shaken by criticism, rejection. One of the greatest dangers of external validation is that it leads to self-betrayal. When we care too much about what others think, we start making decisions that do not align with our values. We say yes when we want to say no. We pursue careers, relationships, and lifestyles that look good to others but feel empty to us. We suppress our true desires, our true voice, and our true potential because we are afraid of disappointing people. Instead of living for purpose, we live for popularity. Instead of choosing authenticity, we choose acceptance. And over time, this disconnect between who we are and who we pretend to be creates deep unhappiness.